In here. Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Welcome to October. Happy Halloween.
Yes, that happened very quickly, didn't it?
It sure did.
Did you see the moon on Saturday night?
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
It was absolutely gorgeous. And I get up sometimes a little on the early side.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful moon set. Just
Ooh.
unreal how beautiful that is. And that's, you never get tired of God's things.
Yes.
You can. How many times? I don't care how many times you see the Grand Canyon, or a sunset, or a beautiful sunrise, or the ocean, or the moon coming up over the ocean. I'm telling you, you could just sit there and watch that forever.
I 100% agree with you. There actually is going to be something called the Ring of Fire in in 8 states. It's on the west side of the United States, unfortunately, but something really cool that's going to happen that's like an eclipse. So very cool happening. I believe it's the 13th of this month. So I'm sad I'm not there, but something very cool that's happening. And I think we're going to have one here in April of 2024 that you can see if you go up to Kentucky. So,
all right.
Anyhow,
Well,
we'll cover that
just have to
then.
make that trip to Kentucky.
Yes,
Then we
yes.
can do the show from Kentucky.
We might have to do the show
Yeah,
from Kentucky.
yeah,
It must
true.
be.
Yeah.
It's a must.
That'd be kind of neat. Go
Yes,
up there
it
to the
would.
Ark.
Oh, I have not been to the Ark.
Oh, that's a breathtaking experience. I highly recommend it. Well, congratulations to the state of Maryland. You now have 3 senators.
Yes. This person that they've elected from California, Gavin Newsom, I mean, she checks all the boxes, Bill, because not only is she a woman, an actual woman, a real one.
Does she know? Does she know what a woman is?
I don't think they've asked her that question yet.
Okay.
But she is also, I believe she's been the executive director of Emily's List, which is a pro-choice.
Looks like a woman to me, but
Yeah, she's on the right. You can see that that's our Vice President Kamala Harris on the left.
Yeah, the borders are.
Yeah, I guess we could call her that. But she has, according to her FEC filing 31 days ago, it lists Maryland as her residence. LaFonza Butler, but she is a black lesbian, so she checks some boxes there. What would have gotten them really going is if she was not an actual woman, but identified as one.
Yeah.
So they missed an opportunity there. But
Darn.
we'll see what happens with this because last time I checked, this was unconstitutional. But
This is and for those who say that Gavin Newsom could be the Democrat nominee, because Joe Biden will probably be kicked out by the party, then this is the kind of people he would choose for his cabinet, or for and other decisions that he would make administratively, and putting left-wing loons and cretins that have no experience, no qualifications for their jobs or anything else. I mean, this is your typical Gavin Newsom Democrat Party, where nothing about qualifications counts at all. It's what kind of skin color you have, how you identify, what your pronouns are. So when you ask that of your surgeon when you're going into surgery sometimes, do you know your proper pronouns, doctor?
yeah, Bill, I think that this is also something that concerns me is that they have no, they're not following things constitutionally. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
well, there you go.
I mean, all over the map, right? But this is pretty blatant.
Constitution, we don't need no
Yeah.
stinking constitution.
So one of the things that Vivek Ramaswamy said, which I thought was interesting, was, what would be really radical is if they actually nominated people based off merit. So he gave them some advice there. So I do like Vivek. He's funny. Lizzie Warren says Biden chooses transgenders whenever possible. Yeah, look how that's worked out. I think I don't remember what that guy did. Something to do with like nuclear.
Yeah, he was just the assistant to the nuclear. This is a guy that had the codes or something. I mean, but
I think isn't he like going through trial right now because he was still in suitcases, or did they already charge him?
He loved luggage, so maybe if suitcases had been nuclear, this would have been your guy.
Yeah, well, I don't actually think he loves luggage. I think he likes the women's clothing involved in luggage. But anywho, they have not done a great job in this administration choosing people, and Gavin Newsom, definitely not going to be an upgrade. So hopefully, if you thought about voting for a Democrat and Biden's not your guy, I don't think Gavin Newsom's your guy either.
No. And if you're voting for a Democrat, please get some psychiatric help.
Yes, immediately.
And vote Wednesday.
Yes, well, here's the other thing, Bill. I do have to say that Republicans also not doing that well. Yes, McCarthy definitely got his vote. He worked with the Democrats to get the vote. There were 90 Republicans that voted no on the bill because of the funding that was in there. However, we will not be seeing a government shutdown because they did vote on Saturday.
At least not for another 46 days.
Here's the thing. They have had since the beginning of the year to figure this out. The thing that makes me mad is they're wasting our time, they're wasting our money, and then they threaten us with a government shutdown. Do your jobs. I don't think they should be getting paid until they figure this crap out.
And then they yell at each other.
Yes. I will tell you that the person that I saw that was not on the list, that was part of the 90 that did not vote for the money or did not vote to keep the government open was Buddy Carter. I was happy to see that. I think Buddy is probably hearing from his constituents, so good job, guys. But I do think that it's coming to a place, an impasse, where we cannot continue to do this. We're bringing in $5 trillion in the government. Let me rephrase that. They are taking $5 trillion from everyone, and they're spending $7. We cannot keep this pace.
Yeah, if you can't get it on $5 trillion, then for goodness sakes, you don't need to get it. All right, it is that pathetic that you said we work our tails off and do the right thing, and if we step out of line and we owe the Internal Revenue Service 50 cents. They'll spend $100,000 to get you.
Yep, they sure will. And McCarthy here, he says that he's going to be fine. He's not worried about what Matt Gaetz is going to do. Clip 13.
There is a lot to get to with you. I want to start, though, on the news this morning from Congressman Matt Gaetz, who says he's going to seek a motion to vacate. He's going to try to oust you as Speaker of the House.
Well, that's nothing new. He's tried to do that from the moment I ran for office. Look. Well,
this time he says he's going to keep going. May not get there before the 15th ballot, but it took 15 for Kevin McCarthy. He says he's coming for you. Can you survive?
Yes, I'll survive. You know, this is personal with Matt. Matt voted against the most conservative ability to protect our border, secure our border. He's more interested in securing TV interviews than doing something. He wanted to push us into a shutdown, even threatening his own district with all the military people there who would not be paid, only because he wants to take this motion. So be it, bring it on, let's get over with it, and let's start governing. If he's upset because he tried to push us in a shutdown, and I made sure government didn't shut down, then let's have that fight.
Yeah, I definitely...
There's a point. The circular firing squad is not working very well.
But here's the thing. Kevin McCarthy promised something.
I know that.
And if you're not going to live up to what you say you're going to do, Republicans need to start holding each other accountable.
Exactly.
And I 100% agree with Matt Gaetz. I know that people want normalcy. They want all these things. However...
Normalcy's not coming again.
Well, we need people that are going to look at these spending bills. We cannot do these big packages anymore.
I know.
They have gotten out of control. We can't hold people accountable because what happens is they put something really good in there for their constituents, but yet we get 10 bad things. So we get one good thing, 10 bad things, but they can defend it because they're like, I had to vote for it because of this thing. You know, what else was I supposed to do? Single subject bills allow us to hold our officials accountable to what they're doing. That is what government is for. It is only... it's only the consent of the governed that can give them the power that they have. So they have to start being accountable to the people. It has to happen. And you know what?
And then, by the way, you're the people.
Yes. Well, and Kevin McCarthy, guess what? It's on you. You did not live up to what you agreed to in January. You've had since January to start voting on these single subject bills. It hasn't happened. The investigations that they're doing, while I'm grateful, where are they going? We have seen no outcomes. They have not subpoenaed Hunter Biden or any of the Biden family.
Yeah. How many times did they call Donald Trump Jr. Before?
I think by March they had him in there 3 times.
3 times, yeah.
So, I mean...
3 times.
You know what, Kevin McCarthy? You reap what you sow. But here's Matt Gaetz also saying he's going to make a motion for the vacation of the speaker.
To vacate tomorrow?
I do intend to file a motion to vacate against Speaker McCarthy this week. I think we need to rip off the Band-Aid. I think we need to move on with new leadership that can be trustworthy. Look, the one thing everybody has in common is that nobody trusts Kevin McCarthy. He lied to Biden. He lied to House conservatives. He had appropriators marking to a different number altogether. And the reason we were backed up against this shutdown politics is not a bug of the system, it's a feature. Kevin McCarthy's goal was to make multiple contradictory promises, to delay everything, back us up against shutdown politics, and at the end of the day, blow past the spending guardrails he'd agreed.
I don't disagree with Matt Gaetz. That was a 12-minute interview on that show. Very interesting to hear him go back and forth because they tried to tell him that what he was doing was wrong. But Matt Gaetz made some excellent points that he's only holding Kevin McCarthy to what he promised.
Right. Yeah. I mean, okay, this is what you said you were going to do. You're not doing it. Let's get that straight.
Well, here's the other thing. If Kevin McCarthy is the Speaker of the House by the end of this week, he's working for Democrats. He is no longer working for Republicans. So I want people to really think about that. He's going to have to get Democrat votes, and what is he going to sell in order to do that?
Yeah, that's interesting because, and he's already mentioned that he is going after Democrat votes.
Yes, well, and they did ask Matt Gaetz about that, and he said, I am not offering any deals to Democrats, but if Democrats know what's good for them, they will vote against Kevin McCarthy. He has not been a good Speaker of the House. He has not been a good leader. I don't disagree with that. Steve Stanton Sr. is with us this morning. He says, caved on the shutdown like they have since '94. I let Buddy know what is expected, and Buddy Carter did not vote to continue with the government spending, which I appreciate. And then Steve Stanton says, why do all speakers have to be from communist California? It's a great question, Steve. I would love to know the answer to that as well.
Yeah, that is an interesting point. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Well, California Republicans are not the same as a Southern Republican.
No,
they're
not.
Vastly different.
Yeah.
And then Lizzie Warren says, exactly right, Brittany, on the single subject bills. And McCarthy's smugness is disgusting to watch. I agree with that. I'm not a big fan of McCarthy, have not been. Think that there are better options for the speaker. They did ask Matt Gaetz if he would want to be speaker, and he's like, no, I don't have the following. He hasn't bought into a lot of the things up in D.C., so he definitely would never be elected Speaker of the House, although I think a lot of us would love to see that.
Yeah, that would be very interesting to get to finally somebody that says that they will do what they say they were going to do.
Yes, and while it's happening in Washington, it's also happening here in Georgia. Senator Colton Moore was taken out of the Republican caucus last week, and we'll hear about that next.
All right, coming up next.
Yeah, like you said earlier, the knives are out. They have cut me out of the Republican caucus. The most MAGA, the most Republican, hardest fighting senator against Fani Willis, they decided to oust from the Republican caucus today. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. I'm just getting back from the Capitol myself. You know, what a time to be alive, Steve.
So, I mean, what is that? You've been in front of this. You've got kind of overwhelming support from the grassroots. Why would they take this measure?
Yeah, I mean, they're feeling the heat like none other. I mean, Donald Trump is polling 56% plus. His poll numbers continue to go up in this state. You would think they would have just a little bit of political savvy and realize that their constituents want them to take action against Fani Willis. That's what I've been calling for the last month, calling for a special session, you know, with the effort to defund Fani Willis immediately, to investigate Fani Willis, you know, to put the pressure on her because my constituents don't want their tax dollars funding Fani Willis. But instead, that pressure was too hot for these Republicans, or rhinos is really what they are, and they've decided to oust me from the caucus. But you know what? I've never felt more liberated, and I will continue fighting, being the most pro-MAGA senator this state's ever seen.
So, what action? I want to be very precise about this. What action did you call for that they have used against you to throw you out of the caucus? Because it's pretty extreme, you think, to throw a sitting state senator out of a caucus in the Republican Party. What did you specifically call for, and how did they effectuate this removal of you today?
You know, they said some of the comments that I've made on your show before have caused threats to fellow senators. You know, I don't know what they define as threats. I haven't seen any evidence of anything they talk about there. Maybe their constituents calling up demanding that they do something. You know, and ultimately they were like, well, you know, you can stay in the caucus. We just need you to shut up and quit calling for the special session. Quit calling out your fellow senator. And it's very simple. I am not going to regulate my freedom of speech in defense of freedom itself. I mean, that's what got us into this mess to start with. Donald Trump, 18 others, using their freedom of speech to question the integrity of an election. Now they've been taken political prisoner. Like, what happened to the rule of law? The rule of law is very simple. We can look at the First Amendment and see that these individuals had a right to question the integrity of election. Now they've been taken political prisoner. And now, instead of taking out the enemy, Fani Willis, they're taking out the one senator who continues to push to defund and investigate Fani Willis.
So the interesting thing about the Colton Moore is that he has a lot of support around the state. His polling is going up. People support him with his goal of defunding. And here's the thing. I think people are just tired of watching stuff happen and people saying, there's nothing we can do. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we don't have the votes.
Yeah, sorry, that's just not going to happen.
Well, start showing some backbone, and maybe some other people will come along.
Yeah, and Lizzie Warren says they gave Colton Moore additional credibility with grassroots Georgians. They sure did. The other thing that really bothers me about what happened with this is that it was done behind closed doors, number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, initially the reporting on this was that it was done by House leadership, or Senate leadership. However, come to find out, it was actually a vote that was done, and the leadership are the ones that took him out, but there was a vote that happened. So waiting to hear more on that. And then state senators consider threats simply a statement that they will be voted out. Here's the other thing. You're in public office. That's reality. You are going to receive threats. That is the country that we are currently living in. And it's because of Joe Biden. It's because we haven't had the ability to stand up. It's because we don't prosecute criminals and people get away with whatever they want. We saw them harass the Supreme Court judges. Mm-hmm. No consequences whatsoever.
None.
They can torment people in gated communities. And when they defend themselves, guess who gets prosecuted? Not the people that are in the gated community unlawfully. It's the gun owners that happen to have guns on their property protecting it. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things that have not happened. And here's the thing. If we don't start prosecuting people,
well, you see what's
you're going to continue.
Yeah. Well, you see what's happening in Chicago, San Francisco, New York.
Name Democratic city.
Yeah. Name a Democratic city.
And Atlanta's no exception. And we'll take a look at something that happened in Atlanta over the weekend that makes my skin crawl.
All right. That's coming up next. Stay real.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934. With personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Are you a mom or dad? Do you have little kids with big dreams? Well, hopefully your kids aren't white or Asian, because if they are, they will have a very hard time getting into their dream college or landing their dream job. Top schools and corporations are run by left-wing Democrats, and they openly discriminate against whites and Asians. So even if your daughter has the best test scores, even if your son has amazing grades, even if they spend extra hours studying and doing everything right, it won't be enough. Unless you suddenly discover that you're part Cherokee, or transgender, or in the country illegally. Otherwise, your kids are out of luck. Which begs the question, if Democrats are hurting your children, why would you ever vote for them? Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy October 2nd. Wow.
That came really, really fast.
Yeah, happy Monday as well.
Yes.
You had a great weekend. Boy, you couldn't complain about the weather. It was absolutely magnificent. So we'll welcome you back. And what's coming up next?
Well, Bill, the funny thing about this 2024 race is that there's a reality that's going to happen for Democrats. And O'Neill is running for office, and this was his campaign video, which I thought was really interesting.
His first name is O?
No,
Oh.
his last name is O'Neill.
I would invite anybody who thinks that we are a nation in decline to come to cities. Because Democratic mayors all across the nation are creating great places where people want to be. Where growth is happening, where our economy is growing. This is not a nation in decline. This is a great nation, and it's made up of cities and people all across America that the president and the vice president are fighting for every day. If anybody thinks that this country is in decline, come to cities.
All right, here's something else we need to quit using is the term Democratic, because it's a lot of others, as Chris Plant says, the Democratic Party isn't, friendly fire isn't, stainless steel isn't.
Well, I do think that some of this stuff is going to come back to bite people, because if you look at any Democrat city, they've gone down the tubes since Joe Biden has been in office. The things that have been allowed to happen have been terrible. I mean, I don't want to go to any of these cities because I don't want to get involved with
They were going
any
down
of
the
these
tubes,
people.
yeah, long before that.
But you never saw looting and stuff like you see now.
Never
I mean,
of this nature.
When I went to New York 10, 15 years ago, it was still a pretty safe city.
Oh, great.
Still beautiful. I felt pretty safe for the most part. There were only a couple of incidents, which it's still a big city. But other than that, I felt fairly safe there. You can pay me to go there now.
Oh, yeah. I was in Chicago for a convention back in the early 70s, and the place was just first class. Loved it.
Still run by the mob at that point, wasn't it?
Oh, well, it's always been run by the mob, so that wasn't any different. In fact, but the mob likes things to be nice and quiet. In fact, I was, apropos nothing, but when I was in the Army Reserve, I was in a unit in Charleston, and we did our summer camp in Bayonne, New Jersey, which is not one of the garden spots of the world, but still, we were billeted at Fort Hamilton, New York, which is right on the river, and a beautiful place. And it was about 6 blocks off the main subway line. And it was such a quiet, nice neighborhood, and everybody said, yeah, it's mafia here. And they don't like no troubles.
Yep.
and there wasn't any. It was nice. You could walk the streets, walk down 6 blocks of subway at night, The only time I worried was when I was on the subway.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can get some of those people back and they can start cracking their knuckles, because it's gotten out of control. And here's the other thing, the border. It's been very interesting to watch as these sanctuary cities have really changed their minds. But Ben Berkwam has done the best reporting on the border that I've seen. There was someone else that was doing some reporting, and I believe he's running for office. I'll have to look into that. But I saw a lot of videos of some of these children that they're bringing across the border, and they're asleep. But these kids look like they've been drugged because they're not awake. You can talk to them and they're not responsive. Yeah. So that indicates that they're probably being trafficked in my mind. I have no proof of that, but I do think it's very odd how many children are coming over the border with single parents, and a lot of them being men.
And are they really their parents?
I don't know, because we stopped doing testing at the border for that.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, we ran out of DNA tests.
Yeah. Well,
how convenient.
Yeah. Well, Ben Berkwam was actually in Costa Rica, and you should still see all of this trafficking going on, all of these immigrants coming across, and they're all headed our way.
And like we see everywhere this trafficking is happening, it's all being driven by the United Nations, by the globalists, by the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum. It's all tied together. All globalists, communists, leftists driving this mass illegal migration across the world to destroy the Western world. It's reparations, it's redistribution of wealth, it's recolonization, all being brought to you by these organizations that pretend to care about the people as they let the people die in the jungle and on their way. All exploitation. ¿De dónde son? Where are you from?
Africa.
What country?
Burkina Faso.
Huh? Burkina Faso. Virtue signaling at its finest. We'll put a tarp up. We'll put the United Nations logo on it. We'll mark it. We'll brand ourselves, and we'll let you sleep out on the ground. That's it. Pathetic. Pathetic. Oh, but send us more money so we can invite more people to do this. So they can die in the jungle and get raped in the jungle and get robbed in the jungle, get trafficked and stolen. Send us more money. That's what the United Nations says. Evil. Demons.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, well...
Send us more money.
Well, that's the thing. We're writing checks as fast as the money's coming in, and the money's not coming in that fast anymore, is it, Bill?
That's right.
The economy's slowing down. People can't afford groceries. People can barely afford gasoline. I mean, our gasoline is fairly low right now because we don't have the gas tax, but
you get yourself an electric car and you won't have to buy gas anymore.
Yeah, but you'll also be putting out American workers, because unfortunately what's happening is because we're pushing all of these electric cars, it is driving...
We're going to build them here.
Yeah.
So you just wait.
Yeah. Lizzie Warren says we don't have a border, and wonder how much Joe and Hunter are getting paid to erase our border. Great question. And the funny thing is now all of a sudden Kathy Hochul, who is no friend to conservatives or any sort of Republican ideas, is now thinking we should maybe have some limits on the border.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Kathy? You?
It can be done. This can be done in a bipartisan way, comprehensive immigration reform.
What specifically do you want?
Numbers of people can come in. Well, we want them to have a limit on who can come across the border. It is too open right now. People coming from all over the world are finding their way through, simply saying they need asylum, and the majority of them seem to be ending up in the streets of New York, and that is a real problem for New York City. 125,000 newly arrived individuals, and we are being taxed. Now, we are always so proud of the fact that New York has the Statue of Liberty in our harbor. We are one of the most diverse places on earth because of our welcoming nature, and it's in our DNA to welcome immigrants. But there has to be some limits in place, and Congress has to put more controls at the border, and not in this budget threat, shutdown threat. Talk about eliminating positions for Border Patrol when we actually need to double or quadruple those numbers. So get back to work and do your jobs.
100%.
Jeez.
Well, I don't disagree with Kathy, and that is very rare.
Circle this date on your calendar.
Yes.
Oh, my God, we agree with Kathy Hochul, for gosh sakes.
I know.
It's amazing when reality strikes these people. Have you noticed that liberals hate liberalism?
Yes. It's amazing. When it comes home, when the chickens come home to roost, they don't like it.
When you point it out to them, they hate that. Yeah, they're all in favor of these policies until it comes about.
Of course. And Steve Stanton says all of what is being reported is by design. Lizzie Warren says send more illegals to New York, and Kathy sounds like she hates illegals. Yeah, it's interesting.
Sure does. She needs to go to
DEI training, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diversity and inclusion training.
Yeah, she does.
Wow. Well, not only is our border being trampled on, Poland is getting criticized for not letting people over their border, but they defend their border a little bit differently than we do here in the U.S., and we'll be looking at that when we get back.
And it's better. That's
It is
next.
better.
So much for all those Polish.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke. When I grow up, I want to be hired based on what I look like rather than my skills.
I want to be judged by my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended by my coworkers and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder
just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard on this Monday morning, second day of October, as we are coming toward fall and feeling like it.
Yes. And it was a great weekend to go out and do some stuff in Savannah.
It was really nice. By the way, our condolences go out. Smith State Prison up the road in Glenville. One of their officers was killed by an inmate yesterday. And another inmate who tried to come to his rescue was also injured. He's expected to recover. He's in the hospital. But this is the danger that these people are in. And our condolences go out to Officer Robert Clark, who was escorting this guy back to his cell after dinner, along with another inmate. And it was just pathetic. Leighton Lester. And he had some sort of homemade weapon that he was using and attacked the officer from behind. And like I said, the other inmate tried to come to the officer's rescue, but he was injured also, but will recover.
Well, I'm glad to hear he's going to be okay, but that is, very not a job that I would want.
No.
Not a job that I would want at all.
So our condolences go out to the family and for people who put themselves on the line every day, no matter what color you are.
Agreed.
So we have a story about that coming up.
Yes, of course we do. And so Steve Stanton's with us. He says the economy, border, Ukraine will be Biden Achilles heel. You would think that, but usually in a election season, you see them pivot. They are not pivoting, which worries me a lot.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder why. But
because they know the fix is in.
Yeah. Well, and Poland, they've been taking a lot of heat because they do not allow illegal immigrants into their country.
Yep.
And they have one of the best economies, the best economy in Europe.
What a surprise.
Yes, and they don't have any terrorist attacks. I can't imagine what could be why that would be.
Because the rest of Europe sure is sorry in many cases that they allowed all these peace-loving Muslims, everybody else to start pouring in, just like when and President Trump warned them about that. He warned the former Prime Minister of Germany, this ain't a good idea.
Well,
and a lot of them were saying, boy, I sure wish we had Second Amendment rights here.
Well, and in Germany, I'm seeing a lot of videos come out of immigrants attacking the Germans and filming it. So not a good thing. And but Poland, they're defending their you can see that the Border Patrol is there, and they're warning these people.
Well, they get mace or something like that that they're spraying them with or something.
Yep.
Yeah, way to go.
Yep, and then they're not allowing them to come over, which.
Well, the Prime Minister said the other day that one of the reasons that we've got such a safe place is that we're not letting these people in.
Well, and they're exactly right. Look at these people. Would you? They're all men.
Yeah.
Would you let these people in?
No.
I wouldn't let them in. They look like they're up to no good, which you can see them cutting right there.
Yeah.
The barbed wire.
Where'd they get all that stuff?
Yeah, exactly. It makes you wonder why they're so determined to get into all of these countries and wreak havoc. But Poland not having it. Not having it at all.
And if nothing else, we need to start using, our Border Patrol needs to start using on the ones that are trying to get in here, those the guns now that have a pepper spray type bullet. It doesn't kill, just incapacitates the person. It does not it doesn't kill them. And this is the amazing thing that one of the new amazing technologies. That if you, so instead of killing them, at least we could incapacitate them and say, well, okay, you're not welcome here, leave, turn around, go back to your country. We're not falling for this stuff that you're escaping because of you're being oppressed and you're being threatened by your government.
No, and they actually, there's a little clip that we have here of them actually protesting in Poland because they don't want immigrants in their country. And their prime minister has been great. He has pushed back. So I think that I don't think that they're going to be coming over the border anytime soon in Poland.
And good. Yeah,
yes, I wish we had that here.
Exactly what we need to be doing here.
And Lizzie Warren said she read over 100 Hungarian border guards were shot by illegals. These people are dangerous. They're not coming into the country to do good things. I can tell you that right now.
They're not civil engineers. They are not electrical engineers. They're not doctors. They're not nurses. They are terrorists.
They most definitely are. And we have some of those here in our country. I'm not sure what is going on, but Atlanta over the weekend, there was some shots fired. There was some investigation that needed to happen. So the police were called, of course.
Yeah.
But
naturally.
Yeah, they were not happy.
And guess what happened?
So you can see that there's a black female officer. There is a black male officer. And now you see a white police officer right here. They're basically telling him they don't want him there because he's white. No white officer in my neighborhood.
Well, tough toenails.
Well, they have to extract him from the situation. They have to have him walk behind the police car just to make sure that well, honestly, he's antagonizing them just by being there, which is crazy.
Well, the black officer should have left. Said, okay, you don't want an investigation. You just keep shooting yourself.
Well,
and sooner or later, that seems to solve the problem. We have a lot of cops here that I've talked to over the years. They shall remain anonymous. Say that when they see these shootings in some of these neighborhoods and they see a guy lying on the ground, they come up and say, well, here's a guy we won't have to arrest anymore. These are problems that take care of themselves. So you just keep shooting each other and let us know when you want law and order.
Well, the problem is that they blame us for what's happening in their community, and this is something that has to be fixed in these communities. This isn't anything that anyone's going to go in and save these people. It's that's just reality.
Yeah. How about getting an education? How about learning? How about going and getting an honest job? Okay. How about let's try that and see how that works. and quit listening to the Dalai Lama. You know, things were pretty good racially here in America 15 years ago, till the Dalai Lama got in, and all of a sudden he started pointing out all these racial, making up stuff. And when you had a police confrontation, he was always on the side of the thugs, and without any evidence whatsoever.
Well, and here's the thing. So I don't know if you heard Donald Trump's solution for the looting over the weekend. I was kind of surprised by what he had to say. I don't have the clip, but he said they should be shot. If you are stealing from a store, you should be shot.
In fact, that used to be common, kind of common language among police or in law enforcement.
Well, now it's shocking to hear that.
Looters will be shot. And if you go back, you know, the Democrats are going to have their convention this coming year in Chicago, that toddling town. And in 1968, the last time that they had it there, and there was some disturbance from some of the folks in Chicago. The mayor at the time said, "Police shoot to kill." Oh, he caught a lot of flack for it, but he didn't back down. He said, "Shoot to kill." Period.
Well, that's basically what Trump's message is now. He actually he was at the California Republican Party convention over the weekend, and his speech was vastly different from what we've heard when he came to the state of Georgia. It was different. His speech in Detroit was very different. The 2023 Trump is a little bit different. I think that he is getting to the point where he realizes that no matter what he says and how he says it, he's going to be criticized. So he might as well just come on with it.
Take off the gloves.
And he has. He was actually touring Iowa as well. I don't know how he gets around the way that he does, but
You got your own 737, you know, you can, or whatever, 757. you can pretty much go where you want to when you want to.
Well, he was in California, then he was in Iowa. He was signing someone's Dear John tractor. Did you see that? I think we have that clip.
A John Deere tractor?
Yes.
Okay.
Trump on the road.
All right. Yeah. Let's take a look. So,
clip 17.
We'll take a look at it, number 17, to see what happened here.
Yeah, love it. Nice. You think Biden can do that? I don't think so. I don't think we can. I love this. Thank you very much. Thank you. Would you let him roam now without?
Got one! Got one! Got one! Got one!
Got one. Okay.
Those were the looters out of Philadelphia last week.
Yeah. Well, it makes a good case for shooting them.
Yes. Well, I mean, here's the thing. We've got to have some sort of stability put back in place, and we're not seeing that. We're seeing these cities really decline very rapidly. My mother, she's actually in D.C. right now, and I'm just like, I don't really love that you're there, but be careful. She's at a conference, but I don't know. Makes me uneasy. Those cities are just not safe.
The old saying is you got to fight fire with fire. What sense does it make? I couldn't understand this in the summer of love 3 years ago. I'm saying, why would you, when these people were rioting in Minneapolis or whatever because of St. George, we had and when they started going into, they said there's a police precinct. They're going to go into the police precinct. I said, oh, they're not be stupid enough to let them go into the police precinct. If they lost their mind, they'll be shot. They let them go in there. They started looting the place, burning the place down. I said, are you just kidding me? And the mayor of Portland, I said, just how stupid can you be to see your city destroyed? I'll give credit to Mayor Van Johnson here, who met when I thought because they were going to have one of those BLM riots here, and he actually he met with those people. The police chief went out, Roy Mentor at the time, who was black. went out and met with them, and they had a quiet march downtown. But because I could see our beautiful statues and monuments that we have here desecrated and destroyed, the beautiful places downtown that would be destroyed, and I was nervous. But they had a peaceful march, and it was over. And I said, thank God for that. So, kudos to Van. But at the same time, but these other mayors that have allowed this to go on and prosecuting the people who are responsible or not responsible for this, who are the victims of this, is just the logic escapes me. I don't understand from the stupidity standpoint. Has public education gotten that bad? I mean, when they interview somebody on the street and said, "Why do we need farms anymore? Because we have grocery stores." I mean, it's a level of stupidity I cannot understand. And that guy was serious, by the way, when he said that.
Yeah, well, and Lizzie brought up a good point. What are the looters going to do when all the businesses close permanently? I mean,
yeah.
I heard the BLM front person in one of the cities. I can't even keep track because they've been looting so many cities at the moment. But she said this is reparations, and I'm sorry, you don't get to just steal things because you think you deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of these places are going to go out of business. There will be some of them that I'm not sad to see because they have not stood up for the rule of law. They've allowed it to happen. We saw this in Atlanta a few months ago.
They've told their employees, don't defend yourself. Don't try to save the
and we'll
the
fire
store.
you if you do. We will fire you if you don't allow them to steal from us.
Yeah, there was. I remember a Walgreens pharmacist that had a gun that stopped a robbery and maybe saved some people's lives. And this guy got fired.
Yeah, well, the so-called food deserts exist because of the theft, says Lizzie Warren.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right. You cannot be mad when stores start closing all around you when, number one, the neighborhood hasn't stood up and said this is enough. They haven't gotten control of because a lot of these people are children.
Yeah.
Or young adults. I mean, they're not 40-year-olds going and doing this.
No, these are 14, 15-year-old kids. If not younger.
Yeah, which is a huge problem, and also indicates that there is a huge issue in these communities that have a lot of single mother households. We've seen that across the nation, and I think that it's a cultural issue, and I just don't know how we're going to solve this if we don't start with the rule of law, number one. And you also have to incentivize people staying together and not getting divorced or not getting or having a lot of baby mamas.
Yeah, and I still, in any of these riots or anything else, I still don't know why they didn't bring out the fire department with the cannon, with the water cannons, and put indelible red ink in them, and spray these people.
Here's the thing, and that's not a new concept, Bill. That's from 30, 40, 50 years ago?
Oh, at least.
So, I mean, we have ways to solve problems. We just are choosing not to utilize them. And guess what? No one gets hurt. No one gets hurt with the red ink.
Bring out the National Guard. Tell the people they are armed and they have live ammunition. And if they have to use lethal force, they will. And they won't, and they'll be like that Capitol Police officer that murdered the only person who was actually killed on January the 6th, an Air Force veteran. He got off. So
imagine that.
We won't prosecute these people.
Well, there's been a lot of those cases where I've been appalled at what the outcomes are based off the crime. They definitely did not get what they deserved.
Okay.
So,
all right, coming up next.
We have a lot more to talk about, but one of the things that's happening around the country is, all the looting and stuff that we've talked about. But Biden also, every time he opens his mouth, he's lying about something
and says something stupid. He's like a piñata. Every time he opens his mouth, something stupid comes out.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Have you ever boarded a plane and thought to yourself, I hope the pilot is a transgender refugee? Have you ever gone to the emergency room and said, I hope my medical team is incredibly diverse? Have you ever moved to a new city and said, I hope the police department hit its equity goals for the year? If your answer to these questions was no, if you just wanted the most qualified candidates for the job, then you are normal. But we have a lot of very not normal people running America these days. Left-wing politicians believe skin color or gender identity should determine who gets the job. Democrats used to care about the middle class. Now they just care about your race and your gender. And as long as Democrats stay in power, it will just keep getting worse. Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
SRE, glad to have you aboard here this morning as we crank up the month of October.
Yes, and Lizzie Warren says, in Baltimore, CVS is closing neighborhood pharmacies. Good people will suffer, but the store cannot exist without making some profit.
Oh, it can't. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. You have to make a profit in order to stay in business.
Yeah, well, that's reality. It's also interesting. MyPillow, did you hear this? They're now investigating MyPillow and going after them. I believe it's...
What?
Well, since he's decided to go...
They didn't sleep as well on his or something?
Yeah, well, the election integrity stuff that he's been working on since August, they definitely are not a fan.
Oh, we're talking about Mike Lindell?
Yes.
The owner and
Yes.
CEO of MyPillow.
Yeah, so they've actually been going after them. They're under investigation. I think this is the third or fourth one in the last 2 months. So they are definitely...
Because? What was that again?
Well, because they're investigating them because what happened was during COVID, they sent a lot of people home. So a lot of their workforce is actually working from home now. And they're now saying that they're in violation of some laws, maybe in California or somewhere, or in Michigan, but they're trying to get them on a lot of those types of things. So, but a lot of the people that work in the call center, quote unquote, now work from home. And so they're trying to get them on some sort of violation there, which is just, it seems really interesting since most people are working from home now. There are a lot of people.
This is what they wanted us to do in the first place or something like that. I mean, okay.
So they are going after his companies. He's been subpoenaed multiple times.
Wouldn't be because he was a Republican. Well, remember they came and arrested him at a Hardee's drive-through. Now, how do you know if somebody's at a Hardee's drive-through?
Well, and he was in some like South Dakota or North Dakota. He was in some like really
I mean, he's in
rural
nowhere
state,
USA.
Yeah. So definitely going after him, which I thought was interesting, but. I don't think that we're seeing any of these investigations stop. I think that that's the punishment is the process, right? I think that that's what we're seeing, even with the indictments with the electors, even in our state in Fulton County. So political persecution. That's right, Lizzie Warren, and Mike Lindell is no stranger to that. I think that they're continue to go after him as well as others who bring up election integrity or anything they don't want to talk about. And Biden. It's getting tiresome to play some of these clips because it is so bad. There was also another clip of him over the weekend where he basically pulled a Mitch McConnell, lost his train of thought, and then a reporter asked a question and he just walked off stage. Yeah. it's really sad at this point.
Yeah. So if you don't think he's bad now, take a look at this.
When I left the Senate, I was able to convince Strom Thurmond to vote for the Voting Rights Act. Strom Thurmond.
Okay.
So
Strom Thurmond.
Yeah. Well, he left the Senate in 2003.
He died
in 2003. Yes, Thurmond died in 2003. Biden left the Senate in 2009, and the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965 before Biden was actually in office.
Yeah.
So, do the math. I can't figure out how that happened.
No, he must. Maybe he's got one of those DeLoreans with the flux capacitor.
Maybe.
And he can go back in 1965 and vote and convince Thurmond to vote for this.
Yeah, I mean, really something, this Joe Biden. He has definitely, he's lied about so much stuff, Bill. And the fact that people are still I think he still has 32% approval or something.
Who are the stupid 32%?
I want to know.
Yeah.
I'm very interested.
And I'm demanding reparations from you.
Yes. You can pay all of the bills that have increased. You can pay the difference. That would be great. Yeah. Lizzie Warren says, need to start publicly shaming the people we know voted for Biden. Absolutely. And here's the thing. If they voted for Biden, I hope that they've learned a lesson. But if they're still doubling down on this, that's where I have a huge problem. Steve Stanton Sr. says, he's our Forrest Gump president.
Yeah.
You are correct. But there are still some good things happening. I think that I've said this before. I think DeSantis has been a great governor for Florida.
He has.
He's done a lot of great things. He's focused on the parental rights bills. He's gone after Disney.
Yeah. And I wish he'd go back and become, stay Florida's governor full time and wait till the next cycle to run.
I think that's what we were always hoping for. But I think that he has also been convinced to run, and I do think that he's getting bad political advice. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But they have opened the light rail in Florida.
The what?
The light rail?
The light rail?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the rails with lights on them?
No, it's a fast-paced train.
Oh, high-speed rail?
Yeah.
Wow.
Brightline crossing the finish line in what's been a more than 10-year journey to connect Orlando to Miami through high-speed rail.
Transportation in Florida, transportation in Central Florida will forever change from this day going forward.
At speeds up to 125 miles per hour, Brightline makes a trip between Florida's biggest tourist hubs in about 3.5 hours.
What Brightline is hoping will bring customers back is the experience, much roomier than an airplane, taking away the hassle of driving. Riders can come in, sit down, get some work done, or just sit back and enjoy the ride.
Brightline is hoping to see up to 8 million passengers a year.
I can't hear what you're saying.
Okay, so that's good. Okay, we're going to have high-speed rail there. Let's have high-speed rail here. I've advocated the fact that we ought to have monorail in this country. And instead of spending all this money that we've spent, all the trillions of dollars that we've spent on the poverty programs that have done nothing but give us more poverty, we could have been spending it on infrastructure like that. And so you wouldn't have to worry about the weather necessarily. If the flights are grounded because of so and so, I don't care what we got to get on the monorail.
Train, yeah.
Okay, it might take us an hour longer to get there, but we'll get there. We don't have to spend 3 weeks in an airport.
Well, and also they're very nice inside. You can work, you can get stuff done, which I really like.
Yeah.
And it'd be great to have that going to Atlanta. Cause that drive to Atlanta is rough.
It'd be nice. I've ridden on taken trips on a Pullman before. There's nothing like sleeping on a train. It's,
Sleep like a baby, huh?
That's right. You're rocking along, and it's just fantastic. And once upon a time, gourmets rode the train. So you used to have when trains were the main transportation before the airlines. You could get 200 to 300 people on an airplane and get there. And you could fly across the country in 3 or 4 hours. You rode on a train, and they had these gourmet chefs. And I mean, it was really, really first class stuff.
I like that.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Mm-hmm. Bring it back.
Lizzie Warren says at least Forrest Gump had morals and integrity, and trains are great if you have transportation on the other end. That's the problem. The infrastructure you talked about.
So that's going to wrap it up for us today. Now, we'll be back with the Tuesday edition tomorrow, maybe even more cameras. So we'll be back then and enjoy your day. And remember, stay real, and you can't spell Democrat without RAT.
Have a good day. Thanks for tuning in.